Hello everyone, and it's time to discuss. This has been a disastrous week for game launches this week, and the topic of this video is going to be: should we ever pre-order games again, or should we ever buy games at launch again? I can't decide yet what it's going to be, but again, this week has been a total disaster. We've had 3 major games launch this week, all of which broken to various degrees. Now we'll start with Halo, Halo the Master Chief Collection, which launched on Tuesday, November 11th, which was the 10th anniversary of Halo 2. And, you know, what did people like doing in Halo 2? They like playing multiplayer. Of course, online multiplayer. That's why most of us got Xbox Live back in the day, back in 2004. And what was wrong with it? Well, the matchmaking was totally broken. You could get into a match, but it took about 20 minutes or so. Sometimes the match would start with you as the only player in it. Matches would start where it was 3 against 2, maybe. There were like 5, supposed to be 8 people, you know, struggling to find players for big team battles as well, which is supposed to be 16 player. It's supposed to be 8v8. You had like 4 people in a lobby. It was a disaster. I did a live stream on Tuesday. I was going to do a little bit of Halo gameplay on Tuesday. And again, it was a disaster. An utter disaster. We got about 2, maybe 3 matches in 2 hours, which was a bit of a joke. Ended up just playing the remastered campaign, which is excellent. The 4 campaigns that you get are pretty good, but for Halo, multiplayer is everything. I mean, a lot of people, I was trying to play Halo 2's multiplayer. It didn't matter which the multiplayer you played. The flaw was with the whole matchmaking system, so it wasn't as if you were just trying to play Halo 2 multiplayer. You tried to play the original Halo's multiplayer, Halo 3. I even tried queuing for things that had multiple games. It was like Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 4. Had maps across all 4 of the games, and it still didn't work. Still couldn't get a match, you know. It wasn't lack of people, it's something that's broken on the server, and I do see there is a patch out. There's a patch out as I'm recording this video, so I haven't checked it out yet, but still pretty damning to launch in that state without the multiplayer working. You know, one of the biggest components of Halo over the last 10 years has certainly been the multiplayer, the online multiplayer at least, for the last 10 years, because that's when online multiplayer came into Halo. It came in with Halo 2, Halo 1 was before Xbox Live, of course. Playing local multiplayer was always fun in that game. Of course you could play online on the PC, but then that was the first disaster of the week. The second disaster came in the form of Assassin's Creed Unity. Oh, what a mess that game was. Now, I didn't personally buy this game, but from what I've seen in reviews, I've seen clips online, I've read articles about its technical issues. It runs about 20 FPS on fairly decent graphics cards. The problem seems to come from the crowds, really, which are lowering the frame rate too much. You think that's something they would have picked up on in testing, wouldn't you? You know, if they're testing the size of the crowds, how much can the new consoles take, how much can the game engine take? You think they would pick that up, but no, they released it and you were getting 20 FPS on a next-gen console, and this is a next-gen, put that in quotes, next-gen game. You know, I think it was barely a next-gen game. If it can't handle, you know, the crowd's minimum frame rate they should have been hitting was at least 30, not 20. 20 is just so choppy. 20 is choppy as hell, but at least 30 FPS. You would think that these so-called next-gen systems would be able to handle it, but again, you could argue it's not a flaw of those next-gen systems, because PCs with decent graphics cards can't handle it. I mean, graphics cards are pretty beefy. There was a Reddit user who had a GTX 780, I believe, who was reporting problems, and that's a good card. That's a very good card. It's probably the model up from the card, the AMD equivalent that I have, but again, it's a very good card, and that was why there's no way I was going to buy that. There's no way I was going to pre-order it. So, major technical issues for Assassin's Creed. You think they would have learned by now that, you know, make the game work. Don't just launch it to meet the deadline. I would rather have it working. Delay it maybe a few weeks and get it working. I see Dragon Age Inquisition, which was delayed a month. The reviews are out for that this week and it's getting very positive reviews. That is the next game I have on pre-order, is Dragon Age Inquisition. So hopefully that won't have as many issues. Let's hope. We can only hope. I mean, that's kind of sad. It's a sad state of affairs when the best we can hope for the next gen is that it works at launch. I mean, that's quite a damning indictment of the whole next generation. And then, of course, the cherry on the cake, the top it all off, Warlords of Draenor launches. Now, the background footage to this video may be Warlords of Draenor. It may be. We may just use that as background footage. But what a fucking disastrous launch, particularly in Europe, where I am. In the EU, I was there when it went live. I was there at launch, standing, well, flying on my mount outside the Dark Portal with a bunch of other people. It was great. It was a good little event, actually, to see all these people gathered. Really bad for the server, though, as just seconds after the little gold message popped up, Warlords of Draenor is now live. Khadgar had just spawned, and a few seconds later, boom, the server exploded, I imagine, kicked out, and then the login server went down, which, fair enough, you kind of expect these little teething problems. There were a lot of people in that area standing outside the Dark Portal waiting to go through it, but then that was just the beginning. A world of issues in Warlords of Draenor, and really, this is the worst offender, I think, of the three, because this is not a new game. I mean, it's not as if World of Warcraft is a new game. It's been out for 10 years now. This is its 10th anniversary this month as well. So, you know, and it's also the 5th expansion that Blizzard have launched. I haven't been around for any of them. This is the first expansion I decided to be around for, because I wasn't really a World of Warcraft fan. I was more of a fan of the RTS Warcrafts than the MMO, but I was okay. I've got into it a little bit, and actually the gameplay is pretty good in Warlords of Draenor when it works. When it works, it's pretty nice. I did get a little bit done. I'm still level 90. I think I'm almost level 91. I just gave up because I was trying to kill a rare and I couldn't cast a spell, you know, so I didn't get credit for the kill because I'm like sitting there with my shaman and trying to cast lightning. It's like, come on, use the lightning, come on, use some flame shot. My totems aren't appearing. Shit. Nothing. Couldn't even use my mount at one point. But at least I'm not experiencing some of the issues that some people are having. Like, they cannot get into their garrisons. If you don't know what garrisons are kind of like player housing. So yeah, I did get a little bit done. I did the opening, kind of the little opening sequence to it. Pretty awesome, actually. It was pretty cool. You go around with Thrall and Khadgar, and you fight a bunch of orcs, you destroy the Dark Portal, and then you make your way to build your own garrison. And I loved that. I loved the quests where you build your own garrison. It was very reminiscent of Warcraft 3. You get the little peons, you have to go out and gather resources, and then you have to build up your base. It was kind of a nice throwback to the RTS Warcrafts, but then of course we couldn't do anything after that. As soon as I left my garrison, it was in a world of lag. But again, people can't even get their garrisons built these days, and there's some people are just grinding to level 100 just by going through dungeons. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna I want to go through the story because I'm liking the story so far. I quite liked it. It was pretty good. The little opening sequence was awesome. You get to destroy the Dark Portal, you go on you escape on a boat, then you build your garrison, and then you're trying to build a base for the Horde, because I'm playing on the Horde because I can't log into Silvermoon in the EU because it's locked. So I wasn't waiting in the queue. So I have my Alliance characters on Silvermoon, and I have Horde characters on Magtheridon. That's the two servers I play on for World of Warcraft. So I thought, fuck it, if I can't play on the Alliance characters, because I was gonna be a Paladin. I had a Paladin at level 90. I got his the heirloom axe from Flex. I think I got it from Heroic, actually. I got, well, the old normal mode, which is Heroic. So I had a 569 axe ready to go, and I grinded out for that axe for a while. And again, the heirloom weapons I got. I did get an heirloom staff for my warlock as well, so I was ready to go on that server, but then I had to go to the horde and do that, which none of my horde characters were really prepared, so I just went on my shaman for a little taste. I quite like the shaman gameplay, actually. Pretty good. Pretty good. The horde storyline is pretty nice so far. I've only experienced very little of it, but it would be nice to get the lag sorted out. The big problem is that there's too many players gathering in certain areas. So I'm going to wait maybe a week. I mean, I didn't take the day off or take the week off. I know a lot of people who did that, took time off work to play WoD at launch. And it's them that I feel sorry for, really, because if you took time off or took time out to play a game and it doesn't work, you know, that's why, you know, this is a whole lens into the whole thing of pre-orders. Is should you pre-order a game, you expect to be able to play it at launch. That's why you pre-order it. So that's the discussion I want to start, is should we maybe stop pre-ordering these games now, because a lot of these next-gen titles just aren't working. You know, Warlords of Draenor is having so many problems. So if you take time off, if you take time out of your busy schedule, I know, to play a game, I do that. I don't really do it that often, to be honest. I didn't take time off work to play Warlords of Draenor. I wasn't that into it, so I was disappointed, but not too disappointed. I know if you go to the Blizzard forums, there are people demanding game time be refunded to them, because you got to remember, World of Warcraft is not a free-to-play game, it is a pay-to-play game, so every day you can't play, you're paying for. You know, I'm paying for days to do nothing, to sit in a queue, essentially, if I choose to. I personally haven't. I personally just logged out, went back to my garrison, said, screw this, if I can't cast spells, I'm not interested, so I'm going to go back to my garrison and level my power tech in SWTOR, which still works, by the way, works pretty nicely. You know, there's no queue to get in. Just pointing that out to anyone who wants to play Star Wars The Old Republic, you can get in fairly easily. We will see what happens when Shadow of Revan launches. Our expansion in SWTOR launches in about a month's time, just about 3 weeks' time, December 2nd, we launch. So it'll be interesting to see. It's actually 2 weeks now, actually. It's getting closer. We're getting closer to Shadow of Revan. But it'll be interesting to see what problems, if any, we have in that. Hopefully, testing. Testing is the key. I mean, I say that for Assassin's Creed Unity. They really should have tested the performance and got the optimization correct for the crowds, rather than just throw people on screen just for the hell of it. That's what I think they should have done. Again, Blizzard... again, you know, Warlords of Draenor had, what, a 6-7 month beta period. There was a lengthy beta period where, again, they could have tested this. They should have maybe loaded up one of the servers. They are claiming that there was a denial of service attack. Don't know of the validity of that. You could argue all the players trying to log in at the same time could be a bit of a denial of service attack kind of thing. It could simulate a DDoS attack. But yeah, I mean, again... still a disastrous launch. I mean, they should still have had a backup plan in case of this going wrong, because you know what people are like on the internet. You know, they'll do anything to screw anybody. So it would have been nice to have seen a little bit of forward thinking. Maybe have backup servers. Maybe have things like overflow servers. Guild Wars 2 had this at launch. You had your overflow server. They created a new little server and transferred the characters temporarily to the overflow server, and then you could transfer back to your original server. You were put in a queue and they would let you transfer back while you were logged in, which is pretty nice. Good solution that ArenaNet came up with. But again, there's just no excuse for this. This is their 5th expansion that they've come up with, and they've had a lengthy beta. They've had plenty of time to test it, and really, it's poor game design if you ask me, because having all the quest givers in the same point, I mean, they had to put emergency Khadgars, was that his name? I can't remember what the mage's name was. I think that was his name. They had to put emergency ones in the different cities in the game because people were just overloading the Blasted Lands, because he was putting the Blasted Lands right outside the Dark Portal. And, you know, everybody had to go there. You had to go there. That wasn't choice. It wasn't the player's choice to go there. That was the designer's choice, essentially. So you can't blame the player base for going to the Blasted Lands and getting to get the quest to go through the Dark Portal. So yeah, I mean, it's not the player's fault. It was the designer's fault. The designers chose that area. They chose us to be there. You know, we're just following the game's advice. We're just following the quests. And again, you know, it was really bad though, because on launch night, I did play a little bit on launch night. I haven't played much since. Again, the gameplay footage of this video might be Halo, it might be Warlords of Draenor. We'll see how it works when we go to record footage, because I haven't recorded any footage for this. I'm recording the audio first and then doing the footage in the background, so we'll see. But then again, it is putting me off pre-ordering games. Hearing of all these launch problems does put me off pre-ordering. MMOs, you could argue maybe they have a little bit of an excuse, because MMOs very rarely work outside, you know, in their launch window. Final Fantasy XIV had massive problems, had similar problems to Warlords of Draenor. But again, these companies, they know the pre-order numbers, they have the numbers, they know the number of subscribers they have, so they should really be designing content around that. It's not as if they're a free-to-play game. Free-to-play game, you could argue, might have the excuse because they don't know what to expect, so they don't want to have too many servers. We don't want to be like SWTOR when it first launched. If you remember when SWTOR first launched, how many servers there were, and now look at SWTOR, there's only like 5 or 6 servers now. Because SWTOR had hundreds of servers when it first launched, and they were just empty. You could easily get in at SWTOR's launch, at least. There was no massive issues, I remember. I played a few days after launch. I didn't play directly at launch, but I did play a few days after launch, and, you know. But does it put you off pre-ordering games? That's what we should say, is does it put you off pre-ordering games in the future? Again, I've seen the reviews for Dragon Age Inquisition, so I still have that on pre-order, but it's certainly putting me off pre-ordering games in the future, or buying day one editions. I'll maybe wait a few months and pick it up for half the price in a Steam sale, maybe wait a year and get it for, you know, less than a quarter of the price, get it for 75% off in a Steam sale. Maybe that's the smart thing to do. So anyway, that is all for this video. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again soon, and goodbye.